Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask question 5, standing to my name, to the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Public Enterprises, Civil Service and Communications. Can the Minister elaborate on actions needed to be taken after the results of the Climate Vulnerability Assessment on Fiji was released in Bonn during COP23? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Public Enterprise, Civil Service and Communications.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for this question. Madam Speaker, the Climate Vulnerability Assessment is very critical. For those members who may not necessarily know, the Climate Vulnerability Assessment is important for defining the risks that are posed by climate change and provides information for identifying adaptation measures. It enables practitioners and decision makers to identify the most vulnerable areas, sectors and social groups within our society. This in turn means climate adaptation options targeted at specified contexts and are developed and implemented. This of course is our approach to development. And as you know, the National Development Plan, on which we'll be talking about later on in the week, is, and we'll be giving copies of it to the Honourable Members, but it's of course available online. This is our approach to development, Madam Speaker. We believe in generating evidence and then using the evidence to logically sequence our developmental agenda, not based on ethnicity or any other consideration. This is the Climate Vulnerability Assessment that was carried out. It was done in conjunction with the World Bank. This actually had an impact also on our National Development Plan, Madam Speaker, and it was factored into the National Development Plan. What is really interesting, Madam Speaker, and some of the results that have come out of it, is that there are enormous, of course, financial implications. In order for us to be able to be resilient, build resilience in our infrastructure, build resilience in our people, and of course using the right technology to be able to ensure that we're able to withstand the now enormous frequency or increase in frequency of climatic events. Some of the climatic events, Madam Speaker, are one-off. For example, Cyclone Winston, recently had Cyclone Gita, etc. in this part of the world. But of course there are more insidious implications of climate change, which includes an ongoing issue. So for example, the slow, but in fact fast, one may argue, sea level rises. We've already removed, or relocated, we should say, to 3 villages to higher ground. So there are, at the moment an assessment has been made, there's probably about another 42 or 43 villages that are subject to being inundated by rising sea levels. So what are we going to do about them? What will be the cost implications for these villages? Of course, it's not just about relocating the village itself, but it's about sustained livelihoods. If they're going to be relocated to higher ground, access to water, access to electricity, but also access to livelihoods is very much an implication which we need to consider. Madam Speaker, the other point, of course, is that in this climate vulnerability assessment, there's also innovative analysis and methodologies. For example, it investigates the impact of climate disasters on poverty and inequality, so that the Fijian government can make risk management decisions that are informed by poverty impacts and not just based on aggregate costs. We seem to be obsessed with aggregate costs in Fiji. Say, oh, what is the cost of that cyclone? But we need to look at other social implications of a climatic event or a cyclone. Or for example, we have places in Vanuatu where certain areas of the arable land that are farmlands, they're no longer farmable because of the fact that salination has increased in those soils. So the farmer's livelihood is actually get affected. So the Minister for Waterways, for example, is doing a lot of water management issues in respect of the dikes, the waterways, getting the floodgates operating properly. The Minister of Agriculture has obviously certain issues that are faced by climatic events, such as because of the change in weather patterns, you may not necessarily be able to plant at a particular point in time. You may need to change the time that you plant. The level of water levels that's going to be made available through the rainy season, it may actually shift or change, and in fact, or may reduce. So these are the sort of assessment that has been carried out, and of course it is very important for us to be able to understand the implications of it. This assessment carried out by the World Bank envisages that we need about $9.3 billion over the next 10 years to be able to keep up to speed with the climatic changes that have an impact on our economy, Madam Speaker. So these are some of the issues that has come out of that, and of course I can elaborate further given in time. Thank you.